Have you ever made a mistake sending money? I remember one time I sent $100 instead of 10 just because I misclicked and it was really painful. But today we will talk about a misclick on another scale, mainly a misclick that cost $41 billion.
This could be one of the most expensive mistakes in financial history.
Accidentally giving away 620,000 bitcoins.
Imagine guys getting sent 2,000 Bitcoin accidentally to your exchange account.
The mistaken transfer of more than $40 billion in assets last week.
Imagine an ordinary Thursday, February 6, 2026. Employees of South Korean Bithumb crypto exchange, which is, by the way, is the second largest company in the country, are launching a standard marketing campaign to maintain user loyalty, or in other words, they are sending virtual lock boxes. There are cash prizes inside these boxes and the amounts are small and symbolic, from 2 to 50,000 Korean won, and that is about $1.4 up to $34. And the terms of the promotion are as simple as possible, and 695 people apply for participation. The winning chances are standard. 96% of the participants will receive the smallest prize, 3% will receive average, and only 1% will receive the main prize. So no one kind of expects anything unusual. The time is 6:50 p.m. and in technical department of the exchange, an employee starts setting up payments. He needs to choose the currency in which the system will upward prices, and naturally he has to choose Korean won. But for some reason, perhaps due to being tired because it's like late at night, he chooses the wrong item in the drop-down menu. Instead of won, he chooses Bitcoin, and one click, one checkmark in the wrong field, and the process that will go down in history as the most expensive click is launched. The system sees the command and issues the rewards. The minimum price amount of 2,000 units now means not 2,001 but 2,000 bitcoins. It's now 7 p.m. The promotion starts and the first participants open their lock boxes and see the impossible to comprehend balance on their screens. More than 240 people managed to open boxes in the first few minutes, and considering that Bitcoin exchange rate at that time was about $66,700, the minimum price of 2,000 bitcoins was equal to $133 million, and the total amount of prizes received was 620,000 bitcoins, or $41 billion. And just to understand the scale of this freak up, this is half of the annual budget of the entire Samsung Electronics Corporation. Social networks instantly explode with screenshots with captions like "Am I dreaming?" or "My eyes are definitely lying to me." But while someone in shock, others are acting. Cold-blooded players understand that this is a mistake and the window of opportunity will close really quickly, and they begin to dump the received bitcoins on the same exchange platform and the market price. In just 15 to 20 minutes, mass sales bring down the Bitcoin exchange rate on Bithumb exchange itself from $67,500 to $55,825. At the same time, the exchange rate remains stable on other global platforms, which creates a unique situation for arbitrage, allowing you to buy a Bitcoin for $55,000 and sell it on Binance for $67,000. Trading volume skyrocketed. So the Bithumb security service noticed the anomaly at 7:20 p.m. and that is 20 minutes after the start of promotion. It takes them about another 15 minutes to realize the scale and take action, and at 7:35 they begin to restrict operations on affected accounts, and at 7:40 they completely block trading and withdraw funds of the affected accounts. In total, users had a window of about 35 to 40 minutes, and it was probably the most fascinating time of their lives. So during this time, they managed to convert part of the assets and withdraw funds totaling about $2.2 million. It's difficult to say how much the arbitrators earned on the exchange rate difference, but the figures there are also in hundreds of thousands. Of course, not everything was so beautiful for everybody. Ordinary users on the platform had hard time. After seeing such sharp price collapse, many investors began frantically selling off their assets. And the losses of these investors are estimated in another $685,000. By the morning of the next day, the exchange platform is doing a Herculean job of refunding funds, and the result is impressive. 99.7% of mistakenly issued coins are returned, which is more than 680,000 bitcoins. And of the 1,788 coins that were sold, 93% can be recovered. But there is remains of unreturned balance of about 125 bitcoins. That is, about $9 million were successfully permanently withdrawn from the platform. And it is this amount that is now listed as a direct loss to the company, and the exchange has promised to cover it from its own funds. And Bithumb immediately emphasizes this is not a hack, not a hacker attack, but the purest human factor: error entering parameters. You would think that the story is over, but here's the most interesting part coming up. The investigation revealed that Bithumb exchange actually owned only 46,000 bitcoins at the time of the incident. And of these, only 175 bitcoins actually belonged to the company itself, and the rest were customer funds. And that means that they credited winners with thousands of times more bitcoins that they actually had in their real reserves. In other words, even taking into account client resources, only 7.5% of the prizes were real, and 92.5% of the coins distributed were just air. They did not exist, just numbers on the exchange internal registry, not backed by real assets in the blockchain. To make amends, the exchange announced a compensation program. All users who were active on the platform at the time of the incident will receive 20,000 won, which is approximately $13 to $15 within a week. And this is really good, but comparing to the previous generosity, this is probably the different kind, you know. Those who sold assets during the panic will be also paid 100% of the price difference plus an additional 10% on top. In addition, Bithumb has canceled trading fees for all users for 7 days and announced the creation of a permanent $68 million customer protection fund. And Bithumb CEO Lee Jae-wong issued an official statement. We deeply apologize for any inconvenience caused. We are aware of severity of responsibility and recognize that we have failed to maintain two key values of the crypto exchange: stability and honesty. Reporters from the Wall Street Journal and Korean media quickly dug up the details. It turned out that Bithumb internal system allowed employees to issue bonus points like Korean wons, Bitcoin, and Ethereum without any formal approval procedure at all. The incident naturally does not go unnoticed by the authorities. The Financial Supervisory Service of South Korea has initiated a full-scale investigation. Particular attention is paid to violating the principle of actual asset ownership. The exchange is required to keep as many assets on its balance sheet as the clients have entrusted with, and the company cannot draw just any random amounts on the accounts. The deputy Na Kyung-won stated the situation has revealed the problem of trading non-existing assets. If the exchange simply changes the numbers in the registry without real movement of funds in the blockchain, this is the sale of Bitcoin that it doesn't own. Moreover, the ruling Democratic Party has announced plans to limit the share of the large shareholders of crypto exchange to 15 or 20%. Won Sing-woo, vice president of the stock exchange business unit, acknowledged in a letter to employees the fact that a single mistake in setting the price currency can destabilize the entire crypto exchange demonstrates the current state of our system. So Bithumb in turn promised to modernize the verification system, introduce two-level coordination of operations, and even use artificial intelligence to detect suspicious transactions 24/7. Surprising. An internal audit by international cybersecurity company has also been announced. So at the end, one click and 35 minutes of chaos left the exchange company with $9 million bill and total regulatory checks. Well, perhaps the main lesson here is that the most unreliable element of any system is a tired person with a computer mouse in his hands.